Welcome to a special WTCH presentation. Race for Sheriff 2018. You decide. The views and opinions expressed on this program today are those of the host and those appearing on the show. They do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of WTCH Radio. WTCH makes no representation of the accuracy, completeness, or validity of any information on this program. These interviews were previously recorded this week in privacy. The playback order is by random selection. After all presentations have aired, WTCH will make copies available at our website, tchdailynews.com. Enjoy this special programming, Race for Sheriff 2018, You Decide, from WTCH Radio.
Good morning, I'm Doug Rogers on WTCH AM 960 and 96.1 FM. Welcome to our special programming today, Race for Sheriff 2018, You Decide. Our studio guests this morning include candidate for Sheriff John Gutho, WTCH's Kayla McKenzie, moderator Chuck Dallas, and videographer John Kupski. We're going to return now over to Kayla McKenzie before we get started with our candidates to pass along useful information for the voting process.
Thanks, Doug. We're joined first by County Board Chairman Jerry Erdman to give us a brief explanation of the requirements to become the county sheriff and to give us a general overview of the day-to-day duties that our sheriff has. Hi, Jerry. How are you?
I am doing wonderful on a super day like today.
First off, what are the requirements to be sheriff?
Okay, the legal requirements, according to state statute, is the fact that you only have to be 18 years of age and not a felon on your record. That's the legal limit.
Can you describe the role of the sheriff? What's the job description? What are his general responsibilities?
The sheriff actually oversees quite a bit. He oversees his budget. He oversees the jail budget. He's in there planning and predicting what automobiles have to be replaced. He is actually a working sheriff who's out on the road. The sheriff's role primarily is a one that does budgeting, heavy into finances, because the sheriff's budget is primarily 100%, almost 100% tax levy dollars. So it's all money that comes from the taxpayer. So one that is fiscally responsible and prudent to where that money goes and how much he expends is crucial.
As far as staffing is concerned, what's his role in staffing his own deputies and the jail?
Okay, the sheriff's role in the correctional part or the jail part of it is to make sure that we have adequate correctional officers for the number of inmates. I believe according to state statute, you have to have so many correctional officers for so many inmates. One of the sheriff's job is to make sure that jail is fully staffed.
Okay, Jerry, thanks again. That's County Board Chairman Jerry Erdman. And I'd like to note that on our website, tchdailynews.com, we do have a featured segment with County Administrator Brent Miller that goes over the statutes for County Sheriff, and you're welcome to check that out. Primaries are coming up Tuesday, August 14th. We're also now joined with County Clerk Pam Schmidt. Hi, Pam. Could you describe your role with the county?
Basically the administrator of the elections for the county.
You have a sample ballot in front of you. The sample ballot is also posted on your website. What's the website for the county?
www.co.shawano.wi.us.
Just describe a little bit about what is on the ballot. What's the ballot going to look like, and what are we expecting when it comes to voting?
Okay, so in Shawano County we have basically two different types of ballots. We have an optical scan ballot, which is also known as a mark sense ballot. What a voter needs to do on that ballot is just simply connect an arrow to indicate which candidate they're voting for. You cannot cross over parties. If you cross over a party using this ballot, when it's fed into the tabulator will kick it out saying that they've overvoted. And a voter can actually, they can correct their ballot at that time. They can have up to 3 ballots to, get it correct. The other type of ballot that we have is a paper ballot. And what the voters will receive in those communities that use those ballots, they receive a packet of ballots. There's actually 5 ballots that are stapled together. They simply tear off the party ballot that they're going to vote on and deposit it into the ballot box. So there's no chance of overvoting on a paper ballot. And the other style that we have is everybody's used to the touch machine. No chance of crossing over in that ballot either.
Okay. So again, when we're voting, as far as the sheriff race is concerned, on this ballot, you are going to see 2 of our candidates. That's going to be Adam Bieber, and that's also going to be John Gutho. You will not see Keith Sorley on this ballot. And just to help with possible confusion, can you explain why that is and where we're going to see Sorley on the next election?
Sure. There aren't any independent candidates, no matter what level of the state or county government that will appear on the August 14th ballot. Independent candidates are running outside of party designations, so that's why they'll move right on to the November ballot.
Let's talk a little bit about absentee.
Okay, we do have information on our website that people can actually download an application to vote by absentee. All of the clerks' addresses and phone numbers are out there also. A lot of them are by appointment. There is no longer a ruling as far as that the municipal clerk has to have in their office the in-person voting for a certain designated amount of time like it used to be years ago. So it's up to the clerk what they do. Most of them, though, they will take the absentee in person up until the Friday before the election, but all of those will be posted. Right. They can vote absentee simply if they just don't want to go out of the house to vote.
All right. Is there anything else that we should know as far as the voting process is concerned? What to bring?
Do need to bring photo ID in order to vote if you are already registered. If you're not registered, you can go online to register. If your driver's license has your correct address on, you can register online and you will automatically be in the poll book for your municipality. Otherwise, if you aren't pre-registered, what you'll need to bring to the poll is your driver's license. Like I said, if your address doesn't match, then you'll need to bring like a utility bill or a bank statement, something of that sort to register.
Okay, again, we're talking with Pam Schmidt. We want to thank you so much for being a part of the program today. Pam, thank you.
Thank you.
That is Shawano County Clerk Pam Schmidt, part of WTCH's specialty programming today, Shawano County Race for Sheriff 2018. You decide. Now, Chuck Dallas.
Thank you. Today we're talking with candidate John Gutho. We'll begin with a brief biography, 2 questions, and then allow John to take the floor and present his platform for Shawano County Sheriff. Welcome, John.
Thank you.
So John's biography. John Gutho has been a lifelong resident of Shawano County. John grew up in Split Rock and went to Tigerton's grade, middle, and high schools. After graduation in 1983, John went to Fox Valley Technical College to obtain a degree in fire science. In 1985, John was hired as a part-time patrol officer for the village of Tigerton. In 1988, John was hired as a jailer for the Shawano County Sheriff's Office, and over the next 28 years, John progressed through the ranks at the Sheriff's Office, serving in just about every division to include dispatch, patrolman, patrol lieutenant, and field services captain. In 2007, John was promoted to chief deputy, a position he held for 9 years. As chief deputy, John was responsible for working with the county board and was heavily involved in developing and managing the department's multi-million-dollar budget. John was also involved in all aspects of employee management, from hiring and promotions to employee retention and formal discipline. John retired from the sheriff's office in 2016. Throughout his career, John has held many leadership positions, both in and out of law enforcement. John is the past president of the Wisconsin Sheriffs and Deputy Sheriffs Association, past president of the Tigerton Village Board, and the past president of the Tigerton Lions. John is a lifelong member of St. Anthony's Catholic Church, where he is on the Finance Committee. John also served on the Tigerton Fire Department for the past 30 years and is currently the chief of the department. So again, welcome, John. We'll start out with our first question. John, so why are you running for the Shawano County Sheriffs?
I feel that my years in law enforcement and my qualifications make me the best candidate for sheriff. When I retired in 2016, I knew I probably would kind of miss it, and I'm glad that I did step away for a little bit. But I thought I would probably run, and now 2 years later, here I am. So I'm running.
Okay, good. So can you address how you feel on transparency of the sheriff's office? Is there too much transparency, not enough, or is it the right amount when it comes to informing the public on an incident or inner workings of the department?
I believe transparency is paramount in law enforcement. You have to be transparent. I think for the most part, from what I know in the last couple of years, I think the transparency's been probably okay. Maybe there are some things that maybe get out that should not get out, but there's a fine line between being too transparent and not transparent enough.
Sure.
You have to really balance that out.
Yep. Okay, good. John, now I want to give you some time to talk about your platform and your campaign as you're running for sheriff.
Thank you. One of the first things that I would like to do if I'm elected as sheriff is I'd like to speak to the command staff, to human resources, and to the line staff and try to identify what's causing the extremely high rate of staff turnover, not only in the jail, but within the department as a whole. Once that cause is identified, I will work with the county administrator and public safety committee to implement changes that will hopefully reduce the turnover. It is very expensive to hire and train personnel and have them leave after a short period of time. I do not know if it is the wage issue or the work schedule or a combination of the two. Perhaps it is some other issue, but I would like to identify it and retain good employees. I will also introduce formal drug education programs back into our schools. I intend to use experts from the Wisconsin Department of Justice, Division of Criminal Investigation, and the U.S. Department of Justice to assist with some of these programs. These would be short awareness presentations, not to be confused with lengthy programs like the DARE program or Counteract that was used years ago. These will let our children and parents know what the latest threats and trends are when it comes to drugs in the county. Everyone needs to know what is out there, what we are doing about it, and how they can help us.
Right.
I believe it is important to continue to pursue school security grants for all of our schools. I would also like to utilize more grant money that I know is available to pay for the ICAC initiative. ICAC is an acronym for Internet Crimes Against Children. I tend to be more of a traditional administrative sheriff. I worked my last 9 years, as you stated, as the chief deputy, very involved with the department budget. It was very challenging. The budget it's probably going on right about this time of year. It gets to be pretty stressful times, but it can also be very rewarding. When the Board of Supervisors approve your budget, and we always manage to close out the year with the overall budget in the black, albeit not by much some years, it makes everybody involved in the process feel good. I intend to keep normal office hours and be available to meet with citizens. I will attend committee and board meetings when there is an agenda item concerning the sheriff's office. I feel it is important to be available and to assist the command and office staff with budget issues, personnel, and the potpourri of just day-to-day issues that present themselves.
Sure.
I've been asked why I would want to get back into law enforcement after retiring in 2016. And like I stated, I'm glad I stepped away. I missed the people I worked with, and I knew when I retired that I would probably run for sheriff in 2 years. Here I am. Lastly, I've worked under 5 different sheriffs. I'm not any one of the 5. I'm John Gutho. I have learned what is effective and ineffective from each of those sheriffs. I believe my credentials speak volumes. I have learned a lot in my 30 years of law enforcement. I feel I am the best candidate for the office of sheriff and will serve the entire county from the small rural populations to the large populations. Thank you.
Good, good. Well, John, you touched on drugs some. That kind of leads into our next question. Opioids and drugs are a nationwide epidemic. What can we do to not only be tough on the drug crime, but also smart on drug crime?
And I touched on that, and I believe it's education. I think we have to start with education in the school. And we can have some larger programs where we can invite people to a school auditorium if they're interested. And we need to educate people on the ill effects of drugs. And I have the resources. I have connections with professionals that would be willing to come in and help put on these seminars free of charge.
Okay. What should be on the radar as the next big concern for the sheriff's department and the deputies and the jail that we'll be facing in the next 2 to 5 years, John?
I think employee retention is big. It's it costs a lot of money. Like I said, it's thousands of dollars to hire somebody and then just have them leave. You know, after you get them all trained up and, you know, uniforms, you name it, and then they leave after a short period of time. So employee retention would be big for me. When I started, you looked at it being a career job. You looked at 20, 25, 30 years of employment, and you were proud to be there. So I think we have to try to connect with our employees and keep them there. I think drugs are not going away. I think that's going to be that's going to be an issue. I know, there's different programs. I believe Shawano County is involved with, the Narcan. They have the Narcan, I should say, in the jail and such.
Okay.
Mental health issues, they're on the rise.
Right. Okay. Do you see any opportunities to cut department expenses or reallocate funds into different programs, services, or equipment?
I've only been out of the office for like 2 years, and I know, that budget is very, very tight. I don't believe so. I'm willing to look at anything. I don't know if there would be something in a different budget, but I know in the jail and the sheriff's budget, she's pretty tight. You're down to very small percentages of discretionary money left after you take away, wages, benefits, utility bills, all the stuff that's given to you that you know you have to pay for out of that budget. There ain't a lot of money left to buy nice things that you might want.
Okay. And maybe that ties into our next question then, John. Do you see items, programs, services in the Sheriff's Department that are maybe redundant with the city of Shawano or the surrounding villages that we could look at sharing to save some costs?
Well, it's been looked at. For years, I think myself and past administrations have always, been willing to talk and listen to whether it's the villages, the city of Shawano. We've talked about combining services, and we certainly work together. The county sheriff has jurisdiction of the whole county, so we will definitely assist in any place in the county. But certainly not a topic that's off the table if somebody comes forward and wants to look at combining services.
Okay, good. What is the Shawano County Sheriff's Department missing in relation to law enforcement technology that's currently available today that could enhance the ability of the department and the deputies?
I think actually the sheriff's office is looking pretty good in regard to technology. To my knowledge, everybody has the body cameras. I think the body cameras are, that's important. Years ago, we started out with, video cameras in the squads. They were good, but that was 20, 25 years ago, and technology is ever changing.
Right.
So it's just, it's always going. I know we have. I call it a drone yet, but the unmanned aircraft, I think that's a good tool. If applied and used properly, that can be, the technology is, forever evolving.
Right. Okay.
Most of the stuff you buy today will be obsolete tomorrow, it seems.
That's about right, John. Yes. We touched the next question, and I know you've touched on the retention of sheriff's deputies. Let's talk maybe a little bit more about attracting good deputies to Shawano County. What's some of your thoughts, John, on what we need to do to attract good deputies?
Well, I think you have to take and do comparables with surrounding counties that are comparable to Shawano County. I have not been in the union as a union employee for many, many years, since 1997. But I worked with the union, and the union contract, I like it. It's something good to follow. Now, the only employees in the sheriff's office that are covered under a union contract are the sworn patrol deputies.
Okay.
But you look at comparable counties, are we paying the same? Is our benefit packages the same? So, whether it's the telecommunicators, the jail staff, those would be the two that are not protected by a union. What are we doing different, or why would somebody leave us for someplace else? Is it money? Is it benefits? Is it the work hours? Is it the work conditions? Is it administration? Is it something, do we need to connect to our employees? I believe you need to, treat your employees fairly. You need to respect your employees and they'll respect you.
Right. Yep. Okay, good. So our last question. So why should the citizens of Shawano County vote for you, John? And what makes you the stand out as the best choice for them?
I believe, comparing me on paper to any of the other candidates, hands down, I have the management and the budgetary experience. I have a ton of connections throughout the state and the nation, for that matter, that I can tap into that can help bring programs to Shawano County, and whether that's helping with the drug program or any other program. I have a lot of involvements. I've been, fire chief. I think the leadership speaks for itself. I'm voted on for the fire department. We're voted on by our peers. So it's not an interview process. It's the guys that you're working with that vote for who they want to be their chief. I've been the chief for many, many years on that department. So I think that speaks, volumes right there alone. I have a lot of training. I'm pretty cool demeanor. I don't usually try to make knee-jerk decisions unless, it's something that needs to have a decision made immediately. Yep. I like to think things over. Do I have time? Can I meet with corp counsel? Can I meet with the labor attorney, or whatever the situation might be? And let's try to make an informed decision and make the right decision, not make a decision that you're going to regret later on.
Right. Good. Well, John, thank you very much for coming in. We wish you the best of luck as you go through the election process.
Thank you.
Thank you
very much.
We have a few minutes left. In fact, you have the floor for any final thoughts or statements for your candidacy.
The biggest thing I want to say is it's been a humbling election process. A lot of hard work, a lot of great supporters out there, and I'd just like to tell everybody, get out on August 14th and vote.
Very good. You've been listening to the Race for Sheriff 2018 You Decide on WTCH with candidate for sheriff John Gutho.